know probably more than something. I know probably a lot of somethings.
Oh, there's some things you don't tell. Mama said.
I know that. Anywho, got elected as service officer, and this fell into my lap. How about that, guys? I mean, when stuff falls into your lap, you have to thank the Lord.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
So, anyhow, this is Robert Blevins, his wife Kitty, and Robert is a U.S. Navy veteran. When I first got to my senior year, crazy thing, I decided I wanted to change schools, so I moved up to Miller County from Bainbridge High, and one of the first people that I met was this. He was a young man then, but now he's a little older. This young man, and we became great friends, just like that, and have been friends ever since. We, like everybody else, we lost track time and again, but Robert is here tonight to talk to us about veteran suicide. And he has a podcast that he is doing, and he wants to let everybody know about it. And without any further ado, Robert Blevins.
I'm a little bit older now than I used to be, and I have to make notes. So y'all just bear with me.
All right.
Like Patrick said, my name is Robert Blevins. Good friend of mine, David Cordell, and I, we do a podcast. It's called Southern Fried Podcast. If y'all want to watch it, you're more than welcome to. We do believe in honoring our country, our veterans. We pray for them. We may get canceled one day because we do a lot of praying and we do a lot of honoring.
Amen.
That's fine. And we're not doing it for anything but to honor God and honor you guys. That's where our life comes from. Being a podcaster means I know how to run my mouth.
All right.
I can do that. Not good for much of nothing else. I'm an epileptic. I have to be careful with what I do. Can't do much alone. That's why I podcast. We did an interview here recently with a gentleman named George Eshelman. And if y'all haven't heard of this man, he's somebody to watch. They made a movie called The Keeper, and it was about George Eshelman. And George hiked the Appalachian Trail. He took the names of 16 days worth of suicide victims with him to make this trip. 364 names is what he took with him. All of them were on spindles on his side, except for one that he had pinned up on his chest that had shot himself but was still living. 363 names was the total for 16 days worth. 16. I think this qualifies as an epidemic or a pandemic or whatever you want to call it. 22. Does anybody know about 22? They say that's the number of suicide deaths from veterans every day in this country. Okay? But we're going to come back to that here in just a minute. The Keeper was a very moving movie. This man went up there to kill himself. George Eshelman did. And it's about his journey down the Appalachian Trail. I highly recommend it. It's in theaters. If it's not, can't find it, it's going to be out on streaming November the 8th. So it'll be available to anybody to watch. It is something that is worth watching. His story.
The name of The Keeper?
The Keeper. And because he was keeping the names.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's a very good movie. My granddaddy, a lot of y'all know him, Cecil McClendon. He fought in World War II, fought all the way across Germany. He's part of the honor guard when they raised the occupation flag. So he went all the way across. He actually got to meet Patton, had a brief conversation. So this is, but the story that moves me the most is my dad. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. He was a corpsman. He waded through a bunch of bad stuff. His name was Charles Gordon Blevins. Now, me and my dad, we have great times. We spend a lot of time fishing, and we used to rawhide each other. We'd be out there fishing, one of us would be having a good day and the other one would not, every single time. So there was always that element of my dad chunking a fish up there. When I'm having a bad day, he'd throw a coal up there right up underneath me. Boom! Here come all this water splashing up on me, and I turn, what are you doing? I just want to see if you still remember what they look like, you know? And then it would flip-flop, and I'd be having a good day. One day in particular, I'd done caught about 10 or 15. He ain't caught nothing. And he's sitting back there just grumbling away, and I take my pole, and I just turn around and say, stop, bang! And what the hell are you doing? Have you lost your mind? I said, I can't do it all. I can't catch every fish. You're going to have to start helping me sometime. And I get called names, you know. We went out for breakfast one time, and my dad loves to do this. We go out to breakfast, and we see these people around us, and he'll start in on them. My dad was a Marine. I promised you an Army one here. My dad jumped up one day, it was an Army guy there, started giving him a time. You old grunt. He said, hey, you know what Army stands for? I was like, what? Aren't real Marines yet. Oh, here it would go. And then it'd get on me, because I'd walk in, oh, Navy guy, yeah, never again volunteer yourself. That's you right there. Come on, squabby, you know, and it just carry on. I got one more good story about my dad. I called him one night to see what he was doing. He said, I ain't doing much of nothing. I said, well, why not? He said, I don't feel like it. I said, okay. I said, sound like you're upset? He said, nah, I'm fine. I said, well, I'll call you tomorrow then. He said, all right. The next day, I'd doing my little woodworking projects and stuff, sanding and staining. And he pulled a detective from Tues County, which is where I was living at the time, where he was living. And we talked for a while, and I said, you know, I always pull up in the police in my house. You know, he said, how you doing today? I said, I'm doing great. You want a cup of coffee? He said, no, I don't believe I do. And he kind of hemmed and hawed and stood out there kicking his feet around a little bit. And finally, I got perturbed. You know, I told him, I said, look, I don't know what you want while you're here, but if you're going to be here, I got rules. You got to come up here and accept my hospitality. Get up here out of the sun, get up here in the shade, drink a Coke, drink a cup of coffee. I don't care, whichever you want to do. Come on. And he kind of hesitated. He said, really don't know why I'm here. I said, no. He said, we got a call this morning about a shot fired at your dad's house. And we went over there. And we found your dad dead from self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, I've never really talked about this before, and I sure enough had to talk about it in front of a bunch of people. But I ain't got no more new memories from my dad. All I've got is what we made. That's all I've got left. And he still goes with me everywhere I go. I go out to eat, I hear his voice. We go out fishing, I can still hear him rawhiding me. Don't think that this suicide thing is a young man's game. My dad was in his 70s. Don't think it ain't real. My dad, he had a handle on it. He's tough. He had a handle on it. He could handle it until he couldn't anymore. Okay? I'm going to give y'all some numbers now if y'all are willing to listen to them. 22. Okay. If 22 is a correct number, it's not changing. It's not going down. We've got programs everywhere. It's not going down. The number of people in the military is going down. But our suicide rate is staying the same. It's not changing. It's not being fixed. The programs aren't working. I'm going to throw, and just to be aware, this is the number 2 causes of death on veterans under the age of 45. The number 2. All right. Now, it's also women's veterans. It's gone up by 24.5%. It's gone up. It's not getting better. Now, the accepted number of suicides per day for our veterans is at 22. There's also another 18 to 20 per day self-inflicted deaths that are not counted as suicides. They write them off as accidents. So your more actual number, more factual number for deaths of by suicide is 40 to 44 per day. Every day in our country. This is ridiculous. And I'm not just throwing numbers out there. America's Warrior Partnership worked with the University of Alabama at Duke University for Operation Deep Dive. And they say at a minimum, the amount of suicides are 2.4% higher than what VA estimates are. I mean, that's at a minimum. This is not where we need to be going. Operation Deep Dive, after researching 850,000 deaths over 5 years, concluded that it was 40 to 44 veterans that take their lives every day. Now, since the global war on terror has started, suicide rates have doubled. And to put this into context, in the last 20 years, you are safer in combat than you are coming home. Because we have lost 4 times more veterans to suicide than we've lost in combat in the last 20 years. You're safer in combat than you are coming home. This is ridiculous. I cannot wrap my brain around this. It's safer for us to go out and face a bullet. It should not be. We've got to take a stand somewhere. And so what do? I was always taught, don't bring me a problem unless you bring me an answer. Y'all probably have all heard that time to time. What? You are right. Part of the answer is Jesus. It is. But what can we do? What can we do?
Be there for them.
We can open, number one, we can open our ears and listen and hear what they're saying and what people around us are saying. We can open our hearts and actually listen, not just hear, but listen to what they're saying and what they need and get it off their chest, whatever. And more importantly, we can open our mouths. If we're having a problem, if we're having an issue, you don't have family to go to, is there a person in this room that would not open their ears and their heart to listen to somebody that's having issues dealing with PTSD or anything like that? Or if you've got issues, is there a person in this room that would not open their hearts and ears to one of their fellow brethren in here? Is there a person in this room right now that don't feel like they could open their mouths to a person here? Because we can study up on the signs. We know we can learn what to look for. We can do that. But can we open our mouths and say, hey, brother, I'm struggling. I need help. We're all tough. We know the veterans are tough. Look what y'all went through. Y'all are tough. This is not a sign of weakness. This is a sign, we leave our brothers behind in combat? These people never came home. They're still fighting the war. That's what PTSD is. Y'all know. We don't need to leave them behind now. We don't. That's not something that we do. And I know all these guys in here, I can look and I can see it in every one of your faces, you two. Y'all wouldn't leave a brother behind. And y'all don't need to be left behind. So, VA's got programs. American Legion's got programs. We got all these programs. They're not working. They're not working. There's 40 to 44 veterans a day that kill themselves that say these programs aren't working. What do? It starts here. It starts in this little American Legion chapter right here. We start right here. We watch our brothers. We're there for them, our sisters. Because every one of these veterans, in their life, it's affected somebody's family. Not just that veteran, it's affected their children, their sons and daughters, their mothers and fathers, their aunts, their uncles, cousins, and everybody in here. Show of hands, has anybody in here not been affected by active duty or veteran suicide? Anybody? If you haven't seen this, raise your hand. I don't see no hands. It's affected everybody in here. Starts here. And throw something else out there. Because my dad was real good on this. Medication. There's medication out there that can help with some of this stuff, and I see heads turning already. Don't you say nothing to me about no pill. Oh yeah, I think we've all heard that. Let me ask you something. You take a pill for a headache? You take an aspirin? No. Body hurt? Take an Advil? Nope. Okay, there's exceptions to every rule. But you know, when you're hurting, you take medication to help you with that. If you got something wrong, you're not thinking clearly, you need something to help you, it's just not a sign of weakness. It's not. It's a sign for somebody accepting help. When I spoke with George Isherman, he brought up the fact that he takes his medication every day. He's seen the effects of what happens when people don't. Said he can't tell on day to day if it's working, but he knows if he misses a dose. It's not meant to change you. It's not meant to change your life. It's meant to help you. Don't turn it down. Don't turn it down. If we take this number, 40 to 44, which is a more realistic number to me than 22, it's been researched. If we drop it by one person, or one number, if we can bring it down to 39 and 43, 365 families will not have to face that. If we can just drop it by one. And we don't leave our brothers and sisters behind. And we need to be there for them now. It's just gone on long enough. It's not just the young ones. It's not just the elderly ones. It's not the Vietnam vets versus the Afghanistani vets or whatever. It's not that. It's all of us. It's affecting every one of us. We need y'all. We need you. We need every one of you. I said I wasn't going to use the word snowflake, but I'm going to. These snowflakes need to learn what a hero is. And that's all these people that I see sitting in front of me right now. You're heroes. You're going to show people, you're the ones that show people how to stand up to this and how to stand up to evil. Y'all are the ones. Every one of you. And I want you to know we need our heroes. You are respected and appreciated. And don't y'all ever forget that. And most of all, we need you. And I hope God blesses every one of you. And y'all deserve it. Y'all are loved, respected, and appreciated. And God bless you.